Good afternoon or evening. Yes, evening, everyone. and welcome to episode 3 of Monday Nights with me, Danny Stewart, on WNYPS, the National Youth Pride Services Network. Um, Tonight, we have a couple things to talk about, as usual. I'm going to respond to those questions that I posed on the last episode. So if you haven't watched that, go ahead and watch that. Still open for responses, just to get some things out there to the people. Um, so go ahead and watch that. But the first thing I want to do is give you all the number you can use. I'm sorry, I haven't memorized it yet. But give you all the number you can use to send in any of your questions, your comments, your concerns, any topic ideas, anything that you think would be prudent for me to talk about, something that you may find interesting. I have some pending topics already from Corey Lewis. Jamad Kelly gave me another one. So any topic ideas, just go ahead and send them to me. I'm going to do some full research on them before I decide to bring them into a video and give you all that, whatever it is that they're talking about. I have to gather my thoughts on it and then go and do prior research, then bring it because I want to, just not be up here talking out the side of my neck. But anyway, for any type of anything that has to do with the show, whatever it is, just call or text 202-599-1092. And that is the hotline for the show. So, yes, the hotline for the show, 202, I'm gonna write it down so I don't have to keep picking up my phone, y'all. 599 1092. And you can reach me personally and I'll be responding and we can dialogue about whatever it is your idea is. Give me some feedback about where it is that you're going or how you may feel about something that I may have said on the show because we don't always agree. And even if we do agree, sometimes we see things in, different perspectives. We still agree, but it's from, a different side of the spectrum. So it's all cool. It's all good. And even if we disagree, okay, that's fine too. I like to hear that. Makes me think of things differently and it changes my thought process on a lot of stuff, which is always good. So, yeah, never be against change. It's always good. So, anyway, today's episode, we're going to talk about a few things before I answer those questions from the last episode. First thing, I keep bringing up these discrimination laws because it's really becoming an epidemic, y'all. So, I read in an article, and I'm pretty sure some of you know, especially if you are a North Carolina resident, that the state of North Carolina has filed a lawsuit against the Department of Justice, and the Department of Justice filed a lawsuit against the state of North Carolina. So there are two conflicting lawsuits over the same thing, and that would be that bathroom bill that I was talking about. North Carolina, within less than 24 hours, passed a bathroom bill that discriminates against transgender members of their community and their society and their state from using the bathroom, the public bathroom, that corresponds with the gender that they identify with, not the one that's on their birth certificate. So, the Department of Justice feels that, and this is North Carolina's Department of Justice, feels that that bathroom bill discriminates against the transgender members of, oh, I thought my pen was falling, discriminates against the transgender members of the state of North Carolina, which it does. But the governor of North Carolina feels that it does not. How? I don't know. He's using all types of rationale for it, and I truly and honestly I refuse to read it or even try and understand. So I've been reading a couple of articles, and this one on the Washington Post, it just really stuck out to me because even in my own conversations, either in class or just amongst friends, whenever we bring up what's going on now with all of these different laws and all this discrimination, I always go back to the civil rights, or somehow or another one of us will go back to the civil rights. And The um, Attorney General Loretta Lynch. Wait a minute, I want to make sure that that's her proper title. Yes, Attorney General Loretta Lynch stated in one of the in an interview about this law, and I quote, "It was not so very long ago that states, including North Carolina, had signs above restrooms, water fountains, and on public accommodations, keeping people out based upon a distinction without a difference." Unquote. That was a direct allusion to the civil rights movement or segregation and Jim Crow pre-civil rights movement. And so one of the reasons why I bring stuff like this to you all, excuse me, is because it's important to keep your eyes on what's going on in society. That tired cliche of those who fail to understand history or those who fail to study history are doomed to repeat it. That's real, people, very real. And as you can see, whereas black people were those who were discriminated against in that class of people that were discriminated against at once upon a time, now there is no open discrimination against black people. I'm not saying it disappeared, because personally I don't feel it disappeared, but that's a conversation for another day. However, now there's a new class of people that is being discriminated against. And although they are very proactive at fighting that discrimination, there are some that are quite passive about it or do not care at all. And we don't want to have that situation where, oh, it's cool, that's North Carolina, it ain't Florida, it ain't Louisiana, it ain't this, it ain't that. And then all of a sudden, boom, it hits home and you're like, oh my gosh, my friend, my sister, my brother, whomever is being discriminated against, or even you yourself can't even walk down the street without someone harassing you. And I know we've pretty much gotten out of the days where, if you were openly gay and you walked around on a college campus or just down the street or anywhere, you had eggs thrown at you, rocks thrown at you. Even, people got out of their cars and beat you up. We're kind of, we've gotten out of the epidemic of gay bashing to where it's not a cultural norm anymore. And it's actually something that when you hear about it, it's like, dang, that still happening? Because, here where I'm from in Florida, like, we don't hear about that at all. The last time I heard about it was probably in 2011. I want to say fall 2011 was probably the last time that I heard about a gay bashing. And I'm pretty sure alcohol has something to do with it. Not saying that that makes it okay, but so we've gotten out of that, and now it's turning from society having an issue and just people, vigilantes, just kind of taking it amongst themselves to do whatever, to legislators taking a stand and creating policies that will discriminate against taxpayers who pay their salaries through the taxes that they work so hard to, through the money that they work so hard to acquire that's taxed by each state that they live in. Is that not backwards to you? Because to me it is. And one thing that I really want to point out to a lot of you all, and I don't know if I've said it before because I say it so much, any person that's elected to a public office, whether or not you voted for them, should have, and this actually, they should have the best interest of the people that they serve in mind. And that's speaking on a lot of things right now. Not only do we have the presidential race going on, there are other elections that should be taking place pretty soon. We have a lot of campaigns that are starting for elections that will be taking place within the next 1 to 2, 3, maybe 3 years. So I'm saying this so that you all will develop some sort of political agenda and pay more attention to the politics of the people who are seeking your vote and seeking your support, be it monetary, be it a vote, whatever it is. Because when you support these officials, they should be supporting you because you ultimately pay their salary. That money just doesn't come out of thin air. I believe in magic, but there's no magic in the stuff that they do. None at all. And I know real magic. So, just joking. But or maybe I'm not. But anyhow, there is no magic where this money comes from. This money comes from each and every one of you out there that is employed. If you are employed legally and your check is cut by some corporation or some company, no matter where it is, there are taxes deducted from your check. State tax, federal tax, you pay, into Social Security, all of that stuff. But those taxes that come out of your check, out of that gross income that you see, that money goes into different accounts for, whatever or however they distribute that money. But in any way, shape, or form, if you are a taxpayer and you have to file taxes in the United States, your money goes to the to pay the politicians that solicit for your votes. So if you're paying these people salary and you're paying for them to go on vacations and this per diem and getting their hair done and all this other stuff that money goes to, and I'm not getting into that because I don't have time to itemize all of the finances and the budgets that they have. But if your money goes to that, you're an investor in the different areas of politics and in those the governmental establishment. And if you're an investor, your voice should be heard, which is in a vote, correct? Okay, so what I'm saying to you is get out and vote, but don't just vote for whomever just because you think it's okay to make history. Or don't vote against, well, no. I'm not trying to I'm trying to say a lot without saying so much. But pay attention to what's being said to you. And not only what's being said, but what has happened over the past couple of years. Pay attention to everything that's going on from 2005 up until now, and not even 2000, but probably like 1990 up until now. Pay attention to the trends in time and how this has affected this and that has affected that, and this, whatever's gone up, be it crime, be it taxes, what's gone down, what you don't hear about but was an epidemic or some type of hot headline, just 2 or 3 years ago. Pay attention to every little detail and how every politician or every person that may be soliciting for your vote or everything that has happened has been taken care of. So that when these people do come to you with these platforms, you have questions of your own. And if you ever do get to meet them, don't be afraid to ask them questions. Ask them each and I actually heard that at a summit, the Young Black Leaders Summit that I went to at FAMU this semester. That was one of the tips that we were given when it comes down to meeting politicians and addressing them. Don't be afraid to ask them questions, because if they can't answer your question or they aren't knowledgeable on a subject, more than likely they aren't deserving of your vote. And if they don't take care to receive, get your contact information, take that down, and then say, hey, okay, I'm going to get back with you on that subject because that's very good. And I want to give you an answer to that and see how I can help fix that. Or, whatever the problem is, and even if it's not a problem, something that you may see down the road, give them a plan or they give you their plan of action in case something happens. That shows a good politician. That shows someone who is there for the people, because that's what their job is, to make policies for the people. Because quite honestly, in American society, we barely have time to stop and breathe sometimes. So we definitely do not have time to cast our vote and our voice on every single law and every single issue and bring it forth before all of these people, these millions and billions of people that live in our neighborhoods and our states, and ask them, do you think this is right? Do you think this is wrong? And then go back and revise it over and over and over again until everybody can agree, or at least the majority can agree. That's a lot of time, a lot of time. So we pay these people to do that for us so that we can live our lives a wee bit easier and not have to worry about so much. But even in paying them to do things, you trust them with a lot. You do trust them with a lot, because if, like I said, if North Carolina and their governing bodies were on one accord like they were, and they were able to pass a law of discrimination within 24 hours. Just imagine if they really had, a hidden agenda. Well, they do, but I don't know how to get it out. There are a lot of agendas that are out, y'all, and if they can do that, imagine what real destruction they could bring, especially if everybody was on the same accord. So just imagine in North Carolina if the Attorney General was not Loretta Lynch and she was someone or he was someone who agreed with the governor and agreed with the law. Then you'll have protesters like you have now that are just out there protesting, but their voices aren't being heard. You'll have men and women discriminated against across several states or even the nation, and their voices are not being heard. And we have history repeating itself because people fail to get out and vote, fail to be a part of the political process, fail to hold the politicians accountable for whatever it is that they said. And so we end up dealing with problems of the past in the present that will ultimately affect the future, if you follow where I'm going. So, people, I urge you all to get out and vote. Both of the lawsuits are going on right now, and just a little more information. The United States government is also suing the state of North Carolina, as well. Um, and the United States government is actually threatening to withhold about $4 billion just in education alone. North Carolina receives more than, and this is from the Washington Post, North Carolina receives more than $4 billion in federal education funding each year. Much of it is in the form of student loans, and the Education Department has said it is reviewing whether to withhold that money because of the bathroom law. So the United States government is planning on, or more, it's considering, that's a better word, it's considering withholding federal funds from the state of North Carolina. So that means that in the fall, because the fiscal year is coming to a close, in the fall of 2016, college students, be it at a two-year university or college, a two-year college, local college, technical school, anything like that, anyone in post-secondary education, plus the money that is allotted for the public schools, and some that may fund private schools of North Carolina will pretty much be shut down. North Carolina A&T and any other university or college or educational facility that relies on money from the government will be shut down because they are not going to receive money if North Carolina does not repeal this bill, well, this law, and tweak it so that it does not discriminate or just strike it down completely. And the governor is definitely not for that. He doesn't want to admit that it's discriminatory. He does not want to admit that it's wrong. And he does not want to edit it. So that means that North Carolina's education will be put on hold. And that's just for education. That's just $4 billion for education. Not to mention, federal funds for Social Security and all the other stuff that is allotted to the states from the United States government. So, and then they also have an open lawsuit for restrictions on voting. The United States government, that's the lawsuit that the federal government has against North Carolina right now. That was even before the bathroom bill came about. So they already had issues with adding laws that added restrictions to voters or restrictions on voters, who can vote, when you can vote, all of that other stuff. And now they have this bathroom bill or law that is pretty much open. Now they're sued. Basically, the Department of Justice has sued themselves over this bathroom bill. So North Carolina has a lot going on, and from the way I see it, a lot of other states will be having these issues too pretty soon. Pretty soon. So if we don't get involved and we don't stay abreast on what's going on as far as our politics and what the politicians are doing, the bills that they're signing, the laws that may come to affect us, whether we agree with them, we disagree with them. If you aren't in contact with the representative for your district, find out who it is. Email them. If you can, go by their office and talk to them. You have that. You have that right. You have that right. You have that privilege. You can go by, you can talk. They are not so far removed from this is not what's that? The Hunger Games. This is not the districts and we can't go to whatever that general city or whatever that thing is. It is not a republic, whatever they call it. This is not that. We can go downtown to those offices at any given time we want to. It's common courtesy to schedule an appointment. But if you want to go down and you want to just pop up in the office or something like that, they might tell you have to schedule an appointment or whatever because they may be in session or whatever the case may be. But you have the right to go visit them, especially if that is your district representative. Go visit them, get to know them. Tell them some of the issues that you see in your district. Bring them pictures of what's going on. All of that. When there are meetings and town halls set up, if you have the time, go to them. Sometimes you may have to make the time, but it's very important that you make that time and go to those town hall meetings and get involved. I've started doing it and it's amazing. It's amazing some of the stuff that they do. And I'm a little upset with some of the representatives, but that's the whole nother subject. But at any rate, get to know them, talk to them, ask them questions, grill them to the nth degree and ask them questions about what's going on and seek their opinions and their plans for whatever it is that they have for your future and your life. Because what goes on in your state's government and political process affects you way more directly than what goes on with the president. That's what a lot of people don't catch. So that's a big secret to government and the policies of the systems that we call the American government. State government affects you way faster and way more directly than what goes on at the federal government. It really does. But anyway, moving on to another subject. I just want you all to catch that. Now we're getting to something that I saw not too long ago, a couple of days ago actually. And I was just reading, different posts on Facebook, and I know we do this from time to time, even on Instagram. You'll see different posts about this and that and all this other stuff. And I was having a conversation with a friend, and we were just kind of talking. Excuse me, y'all. My orange juice. But we were just talking about some situations and stuff that I was seeing, and it made me think of one of my favorite TV shows. Actually, my favorite TV show of all time, Xena Warrior Princess. I know if you grew up in the late 80s into the 90s, this was probably your show too. If you didn't hear about it, you must have been under a rock. Or you just didn't have TV in your house, which is, cool because I understand some people's houses are different. But mine, every Sunday, like some of y'all watch Sunday's Best or whatever those shows are that come on Sunday night. Mine is Once Upon a Time, but I don't have cable. I have Hulu and Netflix, and so I watch it on Monday. But yes, every Sunday around 6 or 7 o'clock, I think Xena came on. And so my cousin, my brother, and I sat down in front of that TV after we ate dinner, sometimes before dinner, and we watched Xena. That was Xena time. Don't talk to us. Don't call us. None of that. Like our parents knew that was time for them to watch Xena. We know where they at, so we just gonna leave them alone. And so we would sit down and we would watch Xena. Well, now I have the entire series on DVD, like any real fan would. And they also have it uploaded, the entire series, on Netflix and Hulu. So if you don't have it, you might want to invest in it. I know that they were showing it on the women's channel, and they were showing it on Logo, the gay channel, on most the TV networks and things like that. But I get to watch it whenever I want to. And one of my favorite episodes is actually in the first season, I think. Um, yes, it's the first season. Um, Gabrielle kind of freezes up. I think it's the prodigal son. Yeah, so the prodigal. But she freezes up, and Xena has to jump in and save her. in the midst of battle, and she felt like she was not ready to take on that life with Xena. She felt like if she did, she would freeze up again, and Xena would possibly die if she were to try and save her. So she abandoned Xena, just kind of left her, and went back to her home, Podadia. Well, she gets back to Podadia and she finds out that the village is being ransacked by pillagers. And, of course, she's really upset about that. So she decides that she's going to help the so called warrior, Meleager the Mighty, to help defend the village. Well, she finds out that Meleager's a drunk. So he took all of the money from the villagers of Podadia and he spent it on liquor at the local tavern at that. So, but anyway, spent all the money on drinking and a little bit of food. And so she decides to still make a hero out of him, but to help her villagers, or her hometown, defend themselves so that they don't have to deal with being ransacked by pillagers every season, and they actually have food and supplies for themselves. Well, in the midst of this battle, pretty much she discovers, oh, I have what it takes to do this. I have what it takes. So she goes back off after they're done and everything, and she goes to find Xena. Well, she gets in the same spot where she was mugged before with Xena. And pretty much the same situation occurs. But this time, instead of reacting to the situation, she acts accordingly in the situation. Which brings about my message. Xena said to her before, and she said it again after it, act, don't react. And at first of course as a child I didn't understand it. But even as an adult, when I watched it over again, I never really understood what Xena meant until I got to college. And when I got to college, I just kind of noticed how some things were a little different, and everything didn't garner a reaction. And that was one of the most important things that I can say FAMU taught me, or life in general taught me. Everything does not garner a reaction. You do not have to react to everything. And I notice a lot of statuses and things that are posted, and I understand that Facebook and social media is now virtually a diary for a lot of people. This is your only outlet. However, I just want to say to some of you all, and hopefully this passes along to some other people, every single situation you go through, everything that's done to you, everything that is said to you does not garner a reaction. Sometimes the best reaction is no reaction at all. And even if there is a reaction that you need to give, act during in the situation, act accordingly. Don't react. And when I say that, I mean your reaction should not be emotional or irrational. So say for instance, like I work in a garden center at Lowe's, and there are a lot of customers that come in and out day in, day out. A lot of them are regular customers. Some of them I haven't seen before because they're travelers from in and out of town. And I've had people from as far north as Illinois and Washington, the state, Washington, visiting family members and coming in, buying things and taking it back home with them, whether they be driving or flying, shipping in a box, I don't know. But I know they come in and buy stuff and they take it, back to wherever they live. Well, there are some customers that come in and they're actually very rude. They're very rude. And instead of reacting to them how I want to, because most of the time what I want to tell them is, I'm not obligated to render any service unto you at all. So what you can do is take your bleep bleep over to the cashier and ask her to get you somebody to help your bleep bleep bleep. I don't want to cuss in front of y'all. It's not proper to do that. That type of stuff. I'm a Southern Belle. I can't be cussing in front of everybody. But but honestly, there are some people that really make you just want to haul off and throw something at them, or hit them, or just cuss them clean out from Amazing Grace to How Sweet the Sound. But you cannot do that. Although you may be completely right, and if people around you witnessing you may come to your defense. But you cannot do that, especially at a job where you're working for somebody else. Now, when you punch in your own clock and created your own business and all that other stuff, you do that at your discretion. You do that at your discretion. And I would hope that if you do it, your actions would be justified and you're just not one of those mean, nasty people that just talk to people in a kind of way. But when you're punching somebody else's clock and you're depending on some other corporation or business to hire you, and you know that they hire and fire people like that, and at the end of the day, they really don't need you. They may want you, they may like you, but they don't need you. There's certain things that you can and can't do, no matter who agrees with you. So, what I've come to do is I politely tell them what it is that they can do. You can go to the register and you ask someone for a loader, or you can load it yourself. Or if you like to wait, you can ask for somebody to load it for you. They ask me a question about a plant, and they feel like, oh well, I need help finding it. I tell them where it is. But if I'm busy doing something else, especially if I'm helping another customer, I can't help them. They're and you do it politely. And I'm not even gonna lie, I get sarcastic with them, very much so. I'm a sarcastic person. If you know me, if you don't know me, that's one of the first things about me. I'm very sarcastic. But there are times I can turn it on and turn it off, but sometimes it just happens like that, and I have to catch myself. So I have to buffer it with a nice, polite tone and a smile. So I'm not trying to teach you all how to pick up some of my bad habits, but I'm just trying to help everyone understand that there are times in life, and this is not just for your job, even in relationships, and this is one of the better ways to keep a relationship um, in your professional lives, in your educational lives, all of that. Friendships, when I say relationships, I mean friendships as well, and even family relationships. You don't always have to react to everything. Sometimes the best thing to do is just say okay and keep going. Because most of the time, especially if you know the person that may have said something or done something to you, you know that they're not, themselves or whatever it is. So why go along with it? Why create drama when no drama should be there or where there is no drama? Especially if there's no issue with you or no problem with you and you know you haven't done anything wrong. Okay, and walk away. And then later on, you may want to come back and address it, which kind of takes me somewhere else that I wasn't planning on going. But there's this picture. I talk about these all the time. This little picture that floats around on the internet that says the greatest problem with human beings, I'm paraphrasing, but the greatest problem with human beings is that we don't listen to understand, we listen to react. So, in heated debates and arguments, you're not listening to understand the person, which is why I don't believe in arguing. When you start to raise your voice and do all that other stuff with me, I just, and as you can tell, this face is, are you done? I'm looking at you like you're crazy. I don't have time to raise my voice. I don't like to yell. I don't like to be screaming and crying and all that other foolishness. I like to be understood, and I don't like to repeat myself either. I like to be understood clearly the first time around. If I do have to repeat myself, and I was talking to one of my good friends, Rebecca, and she told me, she was like, you have a way of saying stuff that confuses people. You need to speak a little bit more plainly. And I was like, you know what? I've been telling myself that because I know, and I enjoy this about myself, but it's one of my big flaws. I speak in subtleties. So there are things that I'm saying to some people that go very fast and they don't catch it. And some people act like they catch it, like she does. But she'll go along, and if she misunderstands something, what she does is she'll say it back to me. I'm sorry. I just thought about our conversation. But she'll say it back to me and in a question form, and she's like, is this what you meant? And I'm like, no, what I meant was blah 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 blah. And then she gets it. So I know for me, I have a way of confusing people with the way that I speak. So I have to work on speaking more plainly. But even in that, there should be time spent to understand. The mental faculty should be spent to understand each other, not to react to what's being said. So you have to in different conversations and debates, things like that, in disagreements. That's a better word because I don't like to say the word argument. Disagreements. Listen to each other. Don't raise your voice. Don't get aggressive in your tone or, even your body stance or anything like that. Listen and try to understand the other person. Ask them questions and don't hit below the belt. That's not cool. Friendships, none of that. That's not cool. Don't, go for insecurities and go for jabs just to make that person upset and just to make them mad because you may feel that you're wrong or you may see now, oh, dang, I was wrong. And never be afraid to admit that you're wrong. I'm never afraid to do that. Actually, me and one of my best friends, that's one of our biggest things. And Taurus and I will tell you when we're wrong. And we're not ashamed to tell you we're wrong. We'll say it all the time. Oh, I know I was wrong for doing that. Sometimes we're not ashamed. And and it takes for having to listen to us and our rationale for you to understand why we did something. And we know we'd be wrong for doing it, but I mean some things just happen and we just have to do it like that. We don't, hey, where are you? We try. But anyway, yes, just back to the main point is though, act, don't react. Everything does not garner a response. Don't let people, that whole new thing now, oh, you'll never see me sweat. When you go to reacting to baby mama drama and who your babe was sleeping with and who he was flirting with in the club and all that other stuff, you look pressed, not that other person. You look pressed and you look touched about it. So if you try not to let people see you sweat, then don't post about it. But anyway, I'm gonna move on from there because I could spend the whole day talking about that. But anyway, moving on. I want to bring to you all's attention, and this is something that I was actually listening to earlier today. Unfortunately, I have class on Thursday, so I can't catch DeMarc's show at 11 a.m. on the NYPS network. But if you are free or if you have the ability while you're at work or something like that to catch the morning tea with DeMarc on the NYP on WNYPS, the NYPS network, please tune in. Today he had a guest on his show, and she's all about personal growth. And that's something that we all can be about, and we all should put our time into developing who we are as a person and growing who we are. Not from, not just staying, oh, I'm going to always stay the same, blah, blah, blah. There are ways to remain a real and honest person but still advance your person, which is kind of going back to what I said earlier. Don't deny yourself change. Don't run away from change. Change is good. It's really good. Changing in the way that you see the world, changing the way that you see people, changing the relationships that you form, changing the ways that you treat the people that you're with, changing the ways that you treat yourself. Change is a good thing. And I'm saying that from a personal place because there were times where I didn't treat myself right. I put everybody else before me. I'm not doing that anymore. And I can honestly tell you all that. If you're going through that and you constantly doing for this person, doing for that person, that person, that person, that person, that person, and you're split in like 50 different ways, and when you come home, all you can do is fall into bed. You don't even have the energy to bathe yourself. You just fall into bed and go to sleep and, okay, I'll do it in the morning. You get up and take a shower and then you right back to doing everything for everybody else. That's not good because you're putting your life on hold for other people. And I understand that there's some of us that can't do it because we have parents or siblings or some type of loved one that needs us because of some type of medical ailment or something like that. I get that. But, and I encourage that. And I'll get to that on another episode because that's different. But I'm talking about those people that can get up and do for themselves, that are refusing to do for themselves, the people that are just leeching on you and using you for your money and your resources and your popularity and your car or whatever it is that you have. Those are the people that you need to let go of. That same old, I reference cliches all the time. Teach a man how to fish and he'll eat for the rest of his days. Give a man a fish, he'll eat for one day. That whole thing right there. Stick with that. Learn from that. Grow from being a people pleaser and all that other stuff. And something she said today, her and DeMarc were discussing today was The Walking Dead and the symbolism behind it that they may take from it because there are a lot of ways that you can see that. But something that I did actually think of, but I never shared with anybody, it was just one of those random thoughts while I was at work, that The Walking Dead symbolizes hurt people. And then we hear that same old tired cliche, hurt people hurt people. Well, my best friend and Taurus and I were talking one day, and we actually came up with another saying to that: hurt people, but hurt people also help people. Because it takes a hurt person or a person that has been hurt to recognize hurt in another person. And then upon recognizing that, being able to reach out to that person and say, hey, I've been there. I know what you're going through. I'm here for you. So I'm saying all of this to say that, oh, I know where I'm going with this, but I'm trying to tie it all in, but that just took me somewhere. Ooh, that took me somewhere, y'all. But hurt people can't help people. And there are times where some of us have gone through depression, like me. Some of us have been suicidal, like me. Some of us have, stopped eating. We starved ourselves. There were times where I couldn't get out of bed. Like, I only got out of bed to go to the restroom and probably get some water or something to drink. And that was about it. I made a sandwich and probably ate a couple sandwiches a day. That was really it. My grandma thought I was on drugs. She thought I was on drugs. It was funny. And I looked at her crazy when she asked me. I was like, how can I don't do anything but sleep. How can I be on drugs? But anyway, yes, there are people, we go through these things and sometimes we don't know. And this has taken me kind of to where I'm going with this, but I just want to point out that we all have to invest our time in ourselves, and we have to invest time into personal growth, developing the person that you are into the person that you're meant to be. We're all here for some special work. And I heard a judge on Facebook. It was a wonderful video that I watched on Facebook, which inspired me even more to become a judge. But she was talking to a group of teenagers, teenage delinquents, as some people would call them. And she was just telling them that you're going to end up dead or in the correctional system if you don't stop what it is that you're doing. And so she walked over to some of them and she said to them, what did she say? She said, we're all here for a special purpose. She said, I believe each and every one of you are endowed with special gifts and talents. And everybody's here for a special work. But the reason why there are so many problems in the world is because that some people ran away or they dropped the ball. And that's why we have a lot of problems in the world, because some people dropped the ball. Because I don't want you all to drop the ball. And that really resonated with me because I'm big on encouraging people and I'm big on saying, hey, you can make it too. I've had struggles, but I've made it. I'm still successful. I'm doing way better than I was a couple years ago. And I know some other people out there have too. And there's some people right now presently, and some of you all may be watching this right now, that are struggling with something. We all have some struggles, but some struggles are a little bit heavier than others. And some of you all are struggling with something. And so it's very important that we take care of ourselves, which brings me to the fact that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. The first full week was for children's mental health awareness, but the entire month is dedicated to mental health awareness for any person. And so I challenge you all to go out, just research something on mental health awareness. Research something on depression, signs of depression, so that you can check out your friends and make sure everybody else is cool. Check out the statistics on suicide. I know suicide awareness is coming up in one of the other months, which I'm going to try and keep you all abreast on the different awarenesses of the months. But suicide awareness is coming up. I know we have a big day for that. The Day of Silence passed in April. But there are different awarenesses for every month. But this month in particular is mental health awareness. And that is something that's very important in the Black community because we do not invest the time that we need to into mental health awareness. We don't invest the time that we need to into taking care of our mental health. For some of us, we feel that it is a shame for us to even admit that we have problems, be it a learning disability, be it struggles with depression, anything like that. We keep it closed up and bottled up. And I was a victim of that because I did it. But I no longer am because it's something that we all deal with. And I'm just grateful that I had friends that came to my rescue and my side when I needed them. Whether they knew that they were doing it or not, they did. And I'm really glad that they were there and I had that support system built around me that helped me when I had fallen by the wayside and I didn't know how to get up. And everybody does not have that. And so if you may be battling with something, if something is troubling you, you're struggling with some type of thing, go seek counseling. Go seek counseling. It's nothing wrong with it. There are people paid to just sit and listen to you talk through your troubles. I'm the type of person I can talk to myself, and I work some things out of my head. But some things are kind of scary and some things are painful. And so it takes another person to do it. And if you don't want to go pay a counselor, hopefully you have a good friend that you can call and say, hey girl, or hey man, I need to talk to you about something. And you can sit and that person will sit there and let them know, I don't need any feedback. You don't have to tell me. I just need somebody to listen. Because a good friend is somebody that will listen to you. So don't be afraid to get those things out. Express your feelings because we're made to feel, which is something else that was said on DeMarc's show today. We are creatures made to feel. We're made to have feelings. So don't be afraid to express those feelings in a healthy manner and make sure that you do get them out so that they don't become physical ailments and they manifest into a physical ailment of some sort, or they manifest into schizophrenia or something way more serious than just clinical depression, or some type of trauma, because from the mind a lot of things manifest. So be very cautious of that. Make sure that you have yourself evaluated, you check yourself, and you do self evaluations all the time. I do it all the time, and I cuss myself out from A to Z when I do some stuff that I know I shouldn't do. In social interactions, just personal interactions, when I spend too much money and stuff like that, the clothes be cute. Oh, it may have been a nice weekend, but when Monday hit and reality set in, and I check that bank account, I be cussing myself out from A to Z, y'all. I ain't lying. I am not lying. I get myself the business. So, don't be afraid to go and seek that mental health, whatever it is, counseling and all that other stuff, because drugs are not the answer. You won't find it at the bottom of a liquor bottle. You're not going to find it at the end of a blunt. You won't find it at the end of a cigarette. You won't find it in a needle. You won't find it, with those lines that some of y'all be cutting with them little razors and credit cards and all that other stuff. You're not going to find it in that. And I'm not trying to be funny and poke at anybody, but I'm just letting you know, for those of you all who may be dealing with some issues and you may not even recognize it because, like me, you were able to trick yourself into thinking, okay, whatever. Stop running from what's going on in here. Deal with what's going on in here first, and then you'll be able to reach out to other people. And like I was talking to Jamad the other day, Jamad Kelly, I was talking to him the other day, and we were talking about this song by Yolanda Adams, which I just have to point out that when I was going through my storms and my problems, Yolanda Adams' music, her ministry really, really helped me. Her music is very encouraging, and it really gets you over. And so, for anybody that may need something like that, because music is something that most of us can relate to, check out some of Yolanda Adams' work. If you need to inbox me, text me some of my favorite songs, I will let you know. But we were talking about this one song in particular, Wash Me. And in the song, she says, Lord, make me pure inside so that I can help my fellow man. Wash me in your crimson tide and help me to understand that the only way that I can serve you is to reach out and touch somebody's hand. And I don't know if I said it before, but I know I put it on my Facebook a lot. The greatest gift in life is love and being able to give of oneself in a way so free and unconditional that you can just reach out to people and help people and touch people and encourage people. So, just make sure that but you can't do that unless you've dealt with yourself first. There's no way that you can help someone because a hurt person that's still hurting cannot help anyone because you have issues of your own. It's hard for you to love someone, and that's something that was discussed on DeMarc's show too. Hurt people can't love. Your relationships suffer. Your job may suffer. Everything about you suffers because you're suffering inside, and that suffering manifests into you having spreading all types of negativity and bad things. Although it's unintentional, but you have not dealt with the trauma and whatever it is that's going on inside. So you have to deal with what's going on inside first before you can become the greatness that you are, because we all have greatness locked inside of us. So don't block that blessing by trying to put on a front for other people. Don't block the blessing that you could be to another person by running away from what's going on in here and up here. Deal with it. And it may be painful. It may stop you for a while. And for some people, you may even quit your job. But I kid you not, once you deal with it, you become a much better person. And you see the world so much clearer. It's almost like seeing everything and everyone for the first time all over again. It's a beautiful thing. So anyway, I'm gonna wind that up now. But most definitely, it's Mental Health Awareness Month. I'm gonna bring you all some facts on mental health awareness, throughout the next couple episodes. So stay tuned for that. And hey, shoot me some. Let me know, hey, well, this is what's going on, and this is what we're doing. And find something, and that's another thing. I'm gonna challenge you all to do that too. Find something to do that will involve you in mental health awareness. Find some type of community service. Go volunteer your time. If you have some extra time, go volunteer at a clinic or something like that. Just whatever you can do to help out, to spread mental health awareness. Make a couple posts and tag me in them. I'll share them. I will definitely share them, and I'm going to make some posts, and I'm going to tag some of my friends, some of my people that I know, and I'm going to hope that you all do too. So anyway, and encourage your friends as well. You all can go see counseling together, but some people are really embarrassed to do it on their own. So everybody, even if you feel like everything's cool, still go, because it may open your mind to a new perspective. So go with friends if you feel like you don't want to go by yourself. It might be cheaper to split the cost. Anyway, so last episode, I'm just wrapping up now. Last episode, I posed the question, what do you all think is the new circus? And for the new circus, because the elephants are being retired from the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, so soon elephants will probably be retired from every single circus. So what do you think is the new circus? And who or what do you think would be the headliner of this new circus? Because I feel like the elephants were the headliner. Well, my answer to that question would be, I think the new circus now is reality TV. And I say that because reality TV stars have went from their candid selves, like for me, I feel Flavor of Love and Big Brother were like very, very candid. That's really who those people were. This wasn't for the camera. This wasn't made up. This wasn't drama. The whole New York pumpkin thing, I feel like that is really who they were. But since Flavor of Love season 2, all the way until everything else that's come out, Rock, all those other shows, and now Real Housewives, Love and Hip Hop, all the other stuff. I don't watch those because I feel like everything is scripted. So I feel that reality TV shows are the new circus, and the reality stars, especially the ones that are violent, rude, borderline crazy, like mental health wise crazy, or that's what they seem like. I think those are the new headliners. And especially, I would say the African American shows are the new headliners, because it seems like they're the ones with the most drama, the ones with the severe issues. Every episode is something. Somebody's mad at somebody. Somebody's upset about something. Like, my best friend came in the other night and was telling me how Mama D on one of these episodes of Love and Hip Hop was walking around with some type of sage or something, talking about she casting out demons and stuff like that. Quite honestly, you don't do stuff like that in front of people. Like, that's just not, why would you do, and I believe you said it was at a dinner party or something. Why would you do that at a dinner party? To release anyway, but it's just crazy stuff like that. So I feel like circuses now are reality TV. That's what the new circus or the new major form of entertainment is for most people, because it's affordable. All you have to do is have cable or access to the internet and you can watch it. And It's on pretty much year round. New episodes, a new season start in the fall, I think, and they run all the way through to like summer, spring, something like that. And then you have a couple months off, and then they right back at it because they're filming while one is already going on. So that was my take on the whole circus thing. Um, so yes, I definitely hope that everyone is having a wonderful and marvelous Monday. I hope that if you didn't have a wonderful and marvelous Monday, I wish you many blessings and peace on Tuesday so that your week just progressively gets better and better and better. So once you get to Friday, you have a whole lot to celebrate because guess what? You made it through another week. If you didn't have a wonderful Monday, still be glad that you woke up this morning. That's something to be glad about. You woke up this morning. You know, you're still in your right mind. You're able bodied, I would hope. And even if you're not, you're still on this side. So you have another day to reach out and touch somebody, make a wonderful day, you know, make somebody else's day better. Do something positive for someone else. Um, Again, for any responses to anything that was said today, if you have anything that you want to say that you want me to get out, or if you just want to, you know, talk and just kind of dialogue about another topic or something else that I should address on one of the later episodes, hit the line 202-599-1092 and let me know whatever it is that you have on your mind. I promise you I'm going to respond if I'm not asleep, but I will respond. And I will let you all know, let you know what's going on, and I'll write it down, jot it down in my little notebook over here, and we'll talk about it. We'll get it out there. So, in the meantime, in between time, thank you all so much. I just want to give a big shout out to Aaron, my production manager, DeMarc, crew, my best friend Antoris, who I mentioned a couple times in this episode. Rebecca, my homegirl, I love you so much. Thank you, and I mentioned her too. Um, and everybody that's supported me so far, I do appreciate it. I appreciate each and every one of you all that are viewing that as my viewers. And again, don't be shy to interact with me at all. Comment on this video if you see it on Facebook. Comment on YouTube. I do go through and I read them. Um, Inbox me on Facebook if you have it. And again, hit the line 202-599-1092. Let me know what your questions, comments, and concerns are. And I will see you all on the next episode. Have a wonderful, wonderful, marvelous week.